Can't believe I'm about to talk about this shit. I was coming home late Tuesday night. Just finished the shoot for a client. I'm coming down the freeway. I look to my right. I see some sheriffs had pulled somebody over. Now I ain't think nothing of it. I just kept driving. Next thing I know, I look up and I see blue lights behind me. Nah, that can't possibly be for me. I drive a little bit more, and yeah, patrol's right behind me. They pulling me over. I'm thinking to myself, man, what the f did I do? I pull over. I ain't really tripping because I ain't did. Cop walks over and he's like, you know why I pulled you over? I'm like, nah. What'd I do? He said, I've been driving with my headlights on. I just bought this car and I forgot to put the headlights on auto. So I'm like, my bad, man. He asked for my license. I give it to him. He walk off. A few minutes later, he come back pointing a light in my face. You sure this you on the ID? I'm like, yeah. He like, you sure? I'm like, yeah, that's me. And he like, I don't think that's you. Why don't you step out the car for me? I'm like, man, what the f is this about? He tells me to walk to the back of the car. He asks me again, now you sure this is you? At this point, I'm irritated. I'm like, yeah, this is me. He look at me and says, good, you're under arrest. You got a felony warrant out of Michigan, and you're gonna be extradited up there. Next thing I know, I'm in the back of the car, being hauled off to jail. This is my very first time ever going to jail. I wasn't necessarily scared. I was just more so irritated. Like, bruh, why the f am I here? They handcuffed me to the bench. The officer walked past me and says, they got 48 hours to decide if they gonna come get you or not. And then he says, hey, at least it'll be over soon. So I'm like, this mother. I'm trying to convince myself they not about to drive all the way down here to pick me up. I go through the humiliating rituals, the mug shot, cough, spread them, etc. They put me in this dingy ass orange jumpsuit, funky slippers, and then they put me in the holding cell. I'm praying to God that Michigan say they not driving 14 hours down to Georgia to come and get me. With my luck, of course. The CO comes to the holding cells and says, yep, they want you. They coming to get you. My heart sank. I'm really about to spend days in jail, away from my family, away from my friends, away from my normality. Let me say this, there's nothing worse than having your freedom stripped away from you. It's a helpless feeling, a depressing feeling, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. The next day I have a bond hearing. They tell me I have no bond and that I'll see the judge in 2 weeks to discuss my extradition to Michigan. So yeah, I'm about to spend the foreseeable future in jail. I couldn't rest, couldn't relax. My blood pressure is rising. And that's the reason that they got me in this holding cell. I'm isolated 23 hours a day, no book, no one to talk to. It's just me and my thoughts. Tried to get some rest, but the dude next to me, he would scream, yell, bang on the walls, shout, and the guards, they just thought it was the funniest shit ever. Man, it made me even more depressed. Like, I ain't got no way out of this. Due to my blood pressure being high, I couldn't be released to general population. They tried to give me pills, Gatorade, all types of to keep my blood pressure down, but it wouldn't work. I told them I don't care. Just let me out this holding cell, put me in the dorm. I couldn't do another day in there. Finally, they took me to general population. Now, general population was a whole new world. There was a TV, dudes playing cards, board games, working out, sleeping. I wasn't scared, nervous, nothing like that. Shit, I was more so relieved that I saw some forms of life. But once I did get settled in, reality hit me. I looked at my jumpsuit, looked at my bunk. I'm really in jail, man. The worst part about it was the uncertainty, not knowing what lies ahead of me, not knowing how long I was going to be in there, when they were coming to get me, when I was going to see my kids again. I couldn't put my mind in nothing productive. I ain't want to play no games. I ain't want to eat none of that trash ass food. I ain't want nothing to do with what was a part of the day-to-day of being in jail. I ain't want my mind to get accustomed to that shit. Days started to go by, and the reality of me being in this place for a long period of time started to set in. Started to make me depressed. I ain't see no kind of hope. I went back to court. The judge told me that Michigan would come and get me in 30 days. That meant I was to wait in the county jail until the transport came. It was looking dim for me. I couldn't think about anything but spending a good period of time locked behind these walls. It was really hurting me to be away from my kids. They ain't got no idea what was going on, and it was tearing me apart because I ain't never been away from them for this long period of time. And there was absolutely nothing I could do about it. I finally let my guard down, start speaking with some of the other inmates. Most of them, man, their stories shook me. Some of them been in there for a year, not knowing what lied ahead of them, not knowing the court date, no money for bail, just sitting here. One thing a lot of them had in common was receiving harsh sentences from this one particular judge. They described him as no nonsense, no empathy, would give you years in prison and wouldn't even think twice about it. Some of these dudes' charges weren't even worth the time they was getting. But being that this county was so small, the jail was the big cash cow for the town, and they got $400 a day per inmate. So I started seeing an incentive to keep folks locked up. And then right then and there, a light bulb went off in my head. For the first time, I felt the jolt of creativity. And I began to write a treatment for a screenplay centered around this corrupt judge. What would it be like if he finally got a taste of his own medicine? I was finally able to tap into my creativity and find an outlet. But I was still feeling depressed due to my circumstances. I was getting irritated from being rudely waking up by the COs. Some of them talking to us like we weren't shit. You got dudes fighting over the TV, arguing over stolen shit. Man, I reached my breaking point with this place. I went to a spot where I could be alone. I closed my eyes and I began to visualize me putting on my hoodie, me putting on my Jordans, and being reunited with my children. I couldn't do another day in here. If I did, I was gonna lose my mind. On the outside, my family was working diligently behind the scenes to get me up out of that jail. They hired an attorney. She began to negotiate with the Secretary of State. to work out a deal that would release me so I wouldn't have to go up to Michigan. The amount of relief I felt from hearing that news, man, words can't describe. So now it was just a matter of time before I'm up out of there. To say I was antsy, that's an understatement. I sat, I waited. And every time a CO came in the dorm, I was hoping to hear my name called, but it seemed like it was taking forever. I saw one dude called to be released. 30 minutes later, he was back in the dorm. They were saying it was a mistake. He'll be released in another 2 weeks. I saw the disgust in his eyes. I was worried that would happen to me. What if they did me like that? Suddenly I hear my name, and when I tell you I popped up, grabbed my things, and I shot the hell up out of that dorm. Now the whole process of me being released was filled with anxiety because I'm hoping there's no mix-up, no changes, no mistakes. They made me sit in intake, and I swear it felt like they were taking their sweet-ass time. The longer I sat, the more like I felt like they were going to come with some BS. But when they finally released me, man, let me tell you, I ran up out of that jail. Ran up the street, ordered me an Uber, and I made my way home to my kids.
Front door.
What's up?
You're back.
I know, I'm sorry.